The
You can't?
group is comprised of
Yeah, it's too loud back there, man. You got some headphones or something?
I'm in a tavern.
Yeah, it might be too loud for you. You got headphones?
Hey, no, hang on. Let me see if I can move over here.
Go
Okay, let's try that now.
invest in headphones.
There we go. I need to get some earphones.
All right, tell me when you can see it. Can you see it? How's that?
I can't hear. Go ahead, start it.
All right.
bus operators, supervisors, transit police, and our district attorney assigned to Trimet. And I chair this particular group. What you have, I believe, in your packet is a chart that shows the number of assaults against our workers for fiscal 2017 compared to fiscal 2018. And you'll note that there was an increase in the number of assaults. We believe that this is primarily attributed to encouraging operators and others to actually file police reports.
Can you hear that? Can you hear that, Neal? There's a lot of background noise.
Hang on there. It should be quiet in a second. Hang on. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, we're busy shouting over.
All right, we're trying to do.
Hang on.
Yeah, I'm hanging on. We're trying to do Neal's
1 second.
Harry supporter. I've already done this clip.
Okay, now start it.
And that's what this report reflects. And I want to remind everyone that one assault is one assault too many. So we are actively working towards correcting this. So
What? One assault is one assault too
He
many.
said there was an increase in assaults due to what?
You saw it. You heard that. Did you? Okay, let's go start over. Okay.
for those that are new to the board, you may not know that we've had a group assembled for the past 2 years to address the issue of operator assaults. The group is comprised of bus operators, supervisors, transit police, and our district attorney assigned to Trimet. And I chair this particular group. What you have, I believe, in your packet is a chart that shows the number of assaults against our workers for fiscal 2017 compared to fiscal 2018. And you'll note that there was an increase in the number of assaults. We believe that this is primarily attributed to encouraging operators and others to actually file police reports, and that's what this report reflects.
Did you hear that?
Oh my God. His lip movement, looking up to his brain, trying to think of how he's going to explain this. Because essentially, what Trimet did not encourage or did not follow up on was encouraging anyone who was assaulted to file a report. They didn't want you to file a report because if you filed a report, it actually happened.
Well, that's what he's saying. He's saying the reason there's an increase.
And this has been going on for years. My wife was assaulted 3 times. One officer actually said, "Do you want to file a report?"
Yeah, they always ask.
And by the way, she was initially on one of those assaults charged with time loss.
Oh, yeah, I brought that up in my version of this. How the whole system is conspires to not let you take time off when an assault.
The whole system is rigged so they don't have to account for the number of assaults. I think the number of assaults this year, according to Mr. Beasley's count, who keeps posting it on the Operators Caucus, is almost 60 for the year.
60 already? Wow.
Yes, 60.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. Mr. PowerPoint presentation here. That's what I call him.
And I want to remind everyone that one assault is one assault too many. So we're actively working towards correcting this. So after...
Let's make that clear. That's a lie, though. The rise in assaults is not attributed to the number of police reports, okay? The assaults, because there's the official count, and then there's the real count. And the real count is higher than the official count. And we've gone back and forth.
And it depends on how you would count. Trimet has always had a system of how to count things, and that includes ridership. So if a person gets on a bus, gets off a bus because there's no longer that bus is going into town, and gets on a train, and now he's counted again, and he gets off the train to catch another bus to finish his journey. How many riders did you have? Well, most people would say that's only one rider. According to Trimet, that's 3 riders.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's why they call them trips. They call them trips. They don't say they're riders, they're trips.
Over the past 2 years, we have been conducting a series of classes on assault prevention, teaching our operators de-escalation skills. But we believe that's simply not enough either. And there are other things that need to be done as well. And one of those is to develop a process in which we provide advocacy on the part of the employee that has been assaulted. So when they have to go through the criminal justice program or process, they understand the process and they have someone that can support them during this time as well. We also now meet with every single operator that's been involved in an assault. We offer EAP services to them in addition to the advocacy that we're beginning to put together.
Advocacy, my ass, whatever.
And go over those de-escalation skills as well to ensure that we reinforce them to the extent that we can. A new program that is being launched is a marketing campaign to inform the public, don't touch the operator, don't harm the operator. And we hope to have that launched within the next couple of months or so.
Yeah, don't touch it.
But I also think that
this program is coupled with the national program of people who rob convenience stores and banks. Don't use guns when you go in to commit the crime.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that program is working real well.
Yeah, that's basically nonsense, right? That nobody.
It's absolutely baloney.
Yeah.
The only, as I've always said, the only crime statistic that is important is long as you're not one of the statistics. Harry can agree with that. This is the guy who's been around Trimet with only a few years that he departed and got rehired and got an additional title of safety and security. So if you want to go back and pinpoint one man who's had more responsibility, who has not really, in my opinion, shouldered that responsibility for 20 years, this is it.
Yeah, this guy, he was in South America when Neal called him up and brought him back. He's, offered him the
No, he was actually did the security for Dubai.
Oh, is that where he was?
Yeah, my question was how he got into the country, considering he's of the same persuasion I am, Jewish.
Yeah. Well, they have Israel over there, don't they? They don't have bad relationships with Israel.
Well, but besides the point is, if Dubai didn't check out his record, because I sure hope he did a better job for them on security than he has for 20 years at Trimet.
Yeah, I know that he came back. Neal recruited him back. I thought he came back from South America, though.
Yeah, and the reason he came back was he knows how the system works. He gets along with the other managements. He's been there. He is get along bobblehead.
Yeah, he's a good old boy, I call it. He's a good old
Right.
boy.
Heaven forbid you brought in someone who was really going to really shake up the tree.
Yeah, well, they don't do that there. You know that. That's the last thing that Trimet's up to. They have a good little cash cow going there, and they're not going to mess it up. Okay, with anything.
I mean, they brought Bob Nelson back.
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah, well, that's just.
Poor Bob only got a year and a half or something at $208,000 a year.
Yeah, right.
That 1 year.
Right, he got a little bit of pork. That's all that was. I mean, that was just cronyism, man. You know, Neal said, "I'll make this new job," and here you go, Bob. Come on back for a couple $100,000 spending money and a little bump in your pension or whatever. That's just plain out cronyism, just like this is with Supporter.
I can't wait to see whether any of the board of directors actually query on him.
Aspect of this that is going to happen, hopefully starting in October, no later than November. We're issuing a request for proposal to install shields or safety shields for the operator.
I don't know why they can't get that done right away. Why do they have to go through all this?
There's the safety shield problem, and it's been installed for almost across the country over 15 years.
Right.
And the other thing, which is real obvious, that could be installed, of course you have to order it, is there's a door on the driver's side that he can escape without confronting the person who's attacking him.
Oh, you mean the operator has a door?
The operator has his own door on the left side.
Oh, okay. I haven't.
And there are buses made that you can do that.
That's interesting. That's a good idea.
But you know,
of course, they can't do that now. Those buses are made.
No, they can't do that now. I mean, it's to get that proposal, you and I will not be around.
No.
Breathing.
No. Yeah, but what's the delay in getting the safety shields in now? Just get them in. Put it. You know, they got hundreds of millions they're handing out in pork every meeting, but they can't get this done right away. It's just pathetic. You know, get it in. Just do it. Exempt from bidding, you know, like they do with their capital project. Exempt from bidding and just get the job done. But no, they're not going to do that.
This is something that the committee has been working on for the past 2 years. We looked at a variety of different models. We looked at other cities to see what do they do. It was pretty clear in the beginning that the operator said, please don't put me in a box. Meaning a full enclosure. So we selected a model that is used in Washington, D.C. and one that is also used in New York City. And we believe that once these are installed, that we'll see a dramatic decrease in the number of assaults against our operators. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
That's his report.
Questions?
Thank you. Less of a question and more of a recommendation, frankly, that, I understand the importance of safety of our operators, and it's critical that they feel that they are protected and able to do their job on a daily basis. And for as much as I can, the optimist in me can hope for the humanity in us all to bring the best forward every day. I know that there's an element of humanism that is also part of this, so I fully agree with the operators' response to not being put in a box, and I would simply recommend that in addition to protecting them from physical sort of abuse or attacks or any sort of interaction, that we seek to also shine a human face on the human beings that operate each and every day, so that people interacting with them have, in addition to being protected, also have an opportunity to get to know them as people in one fashion or another. And there's a lot of mechanisms to humanize the people we interact with.
What the hell what's this garbage?
Within that way.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, right. What is that? What the hell is he talking about there?
I have no idea.
So I'd like to add, if I may, on to that.
Yeah, Harry liked it. Yeah.
I totally agree. This is a people business.
Yes.
And it's an experience business. And I just really want to compliment the bus operators who helped contribute to getting to this decision, as well as our team and Harry. Part of the type of barrier that has been selected, again, implemented in other cities, it's a tool of risk. And the goal, these are not just put people in and close it. It's in many cases we want to encourage people, our operators, to not have to have them closed. So there's a customer service interface piece, but it should be a tool for the operator based on their comfort and risk. And when they can have it open, so you can kind of open it part way as opposed to it's either open or closed totally. That's part of the design we selected, was to allow and optimize that interface as much as we possibly can. I do think also we do need to, some of the challenges when you carry so many people, just under 300,000 boardings a day on the system, it's a high volume. Sometimes the odd time there are challenges that come with these, to these talented people who operate our system. And so this is part of giving them the tools without going overboard, if you will. So the barrier that's been designed gives us flexibility, or gives them flexibility, to give them a tool on the scene to give them comfort and to protect them as best we can. So I totally echo balancing the customer experience with the need and the importance of our really important operators out there. So thank you.
I believe you'll have an opportunity to see the new electric bus. We have the barrier installed in that you can see what it looks like. And you see that there is indeed a great flexibility on the part of the operators, and that was something that the
it is true that some operators don't help the situation. There are operators that are not particularly customer friendly, and that doesn't help. That doesn't help in the situation we're in here. Okay, you know what I mean?
I agree. There is no. When you and I were there, they used to play it wasn't a verbal judo. It was the guy who made a film, who was a prison guard, I think, from San Quentin, who gave you a verbal list of how to de-escalate things, which was really good. And the key was never to use the word "I want you."
Right.
You always use the word "you." And he spoke from experience, because if you looked at his face, and he mentioned it in his video, that the left side of his face is completely paralyzed due to being assaulted so many times on the job as a prison guard. But the other thing I want to bring out is, when you and I first started, what was the garbage can? Do you remember the original garbage can?
Oh, no. Remind me. What about it?
The original garbage can on all the buses was a metal garbage can, a big, heavy metal garbage can.
Yeah, it was. That's right.
And after finally they realized, after numerous bus drivers, and some, one I knew had to stop, got hit over the head and suffered a major concussion and never came back. That is why you now have plastic garbage cans.
Yeah.
And I mean, as simple a solution as that took years to come into action.
Did you ever get assaulted while you were driving bus? No, right?
I got spit on a few times.
Oh, did you?
And I got pushed around in a couple seats. When I always drove a bus, I did two things. One, I always made sure that the aluminum chuck was on my left side, easy to be handled. And on the old buses, I used to know the spotter real well, and I said, I want a different bus. He says, what's wrong with it? Because remember, the old radios were right by the fare box, right by the fare machine.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
And I said, this one doesn't have a long enough cord. And so I always made sure that it had a cord, if I could get it, a bus that was 2 or 3 feet long, that I could whack someone on with it.
I see.
And I came close so many times to doing it.
Yeah, I never had one. No, you know, I must be very peaceful or something. Cause
I drove very, very, very late at night.
Yo. Yeah.
So, you know, I would get home at
yeah. So you're
3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I got you. So you're.
Yeah, I got to meet some of Portland's quote finest transit people.
I know. I never had that problem, but you know, I didn't have to confront a lot of the things that other drivers did.
And you know, and by the way, in my almost 8 years of driving a bus, I never had a manager drive with me or ride with me, you know, into the wee hours of the morning.
No, they weren't going to. So you 8 years behind the wheel, and then what? 15 in the rail?
Yeah, almost 16 in the rail.
Yeah. We used to enjoy you, me and my scanner buddies, listening to you on the radio. Man, you were always entertaining.
Operators that were represented on the committee they really advocated for that customer-operator interface because that's what they enjoy.
See, with the door on the left side, you don't feel like you're going to be trapped in a box.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen anybody talk about that until you just did. Of course, that has to be part of the design of the bus when they order the bus.
Right. Well, yours truly is in his over 20 years never got on any committee. I never understood why.
You were.
And I applied.
Yeah. Well, you were too independent, Neal. Okay.
Yeah, well, the problem was I was going to ask a question that shouldn't be asked.
Yeah, you were like me. They don't want anybody who's critical, okay, and who's.
And I'm not degrading the people who are on the committee because I don't know who they are. But over the years, it seems to be the same operators, whether it be the safety, whatever. Accident review committee, it's the same people. They switch, and you know. Yeah, no,
they have their profile of what kind of person they want the management to be interacting with.
I always got the same letter. Thank you very much for applying. We had very many people apply. Your application is being considered. Please apply again.
Yeah. I never applied for anything there. I knew how they. Yeah. Well, you know, this is a bureaucracy. Government bureaucracies do not want any dissent going on, so they tend to promote and put these people that are the most compliant with the company on these committees, and that's by intent, of course. You know, they don't want dissenters on there. Just like the board of directors has to be supportive of the general manager, they're not going to stay there.
I also agree that our HR, human resources, are our most important capital here. And so I think along those lines, I think my comment is, and a little bit of a concern is for folks with disabilities who are taking the bus or visually or hearing impaired, and you know, their abilities to interact with the bus operator, would that be limited? For example, if we have this shield that prevents, you know, those specific populations or just anybody. I have been a long time bus rider, and you know, I think when I was going to high school, I would sometimes, you know, like tap on their shoulders, like, hey, are we at the right stop? Or hey, you know, this person in the back needs some assistance. So I'm just trying to sort of see on the day-to-day level how some of these interactions between our, you know, the customers would look like. And I'm not opposed against, you know, protecting our bus operators.
I don't know. Do you have any idea what she's talking about?
You know, the only people commenting, it seems, are the two new. Yeah,
right.
Well, there are 3 new members, but these 2
are the only ones that. Yeah, and they're a little bit off track. They don't really.
They're off track.
Right.
hopefully they will get more focused unless they get talked to off camera by Mr. Warner saying,
Right.
But I'm just curious as to have you thought about how those interactions might prevent the public from
Absolutely.
asking questions?
So not only did we think about it, we invited CAT to participate before we made any decision. So the CAT board members came and saw the barrier. We had Jan Campbell and others actually physically enter the bus with the barrier in place. And they didn't see any real issues with it. But obviously, we have a very limited number of these in place today, and we really won't know the true impact until we begin to deploy more and more of these. And we'll make adjustments as necessary.
the difference is,
as always, Harry, thank you for the update. Greatly.
The operator's point of view is that someone who, like Harry and some of these people who come, sit there and they sit with the barrier to see what it's like, and they maybe sit in the seat 90 seconds. It's a hell of a lot different sitting there for 9 or 10 hours.
Yeah. No, they really don't have a clue. And they don't do anything to get a clue. They don't commit to riding the buses or interact. No. Look,
as I said in our last meeting, it's the bus ride challenge.
Yeah,
it's still open.
Unless they got out there and experienced what people experience, their comments are basically useless because they don't really know what they're talking about. They have no understanding of the topic at all, except what Harry's telling them.
Greatly appreciated, and as you already referenced, even one operator sold is one too many. So the challenge I think we face is we exist in a world where it seems like things are increasingly happening, on our roads and thoroughfares. As I read the news and look at the news,
he's quite the pontificator.
It seems like the occurrence of road rage continues to increase and escalate. Now, I say that without any hard data or statistics to prove. It's more anecdotal. It's just kind of how I feel. And, as I think about and hear about those things that are occurring, I tend to look at this and say that while I absolutely agree with what's been said, and Director Gonzalez, I think what he referenced in regards to humanizing, the operator in a way that really speaks to our community, and I think a lot of folks already see that. But I think it'd be a great idea to look at some campaign where we profile publicly some of our great operators, and thus humanizing and connecting in that human sense. I also
completely ridiculous. I mean, come on. The people.
I mean, they put up the posters every year, Operators of the Year, and their pictures.
The guy that's going to carry out an assault isn't going to be looking at that material.
I mean, someone who's going to commit an assault is not going to look up and say.
No. This kind of campaign is not going to affect the target audience. Okay, it's just not going to work.
So though, I have a personal feeling about kind of that closure. I used to drive a bus.
What?
And
what did he say? Did he just say
he said he drives a bus?
He used to drive a bus? Did he actually say that? He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
That interaction with your riders is something that's
that's the first time I've heard
really
that.
enjoyable, and you can assist folks.
He used to drive a
although
bus.
I would also say that when we think
the only other person I know
the
bus who said that is actually Jeff Gianola, the anchor person on Channel 6, drove a bus in L.A.
Did he really?
Yep, in his early career.
As a transit operator?
As a transit operator.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, if you're on Jeopardy and that's the final question, you better split the money with me.
Increasing sometimes, tough world that our operators exist in. I think the barriers are going to be something that we're going to have to make sure that we have available in place. I just think that these folks are just in a world that is becoming more and more unpredictable. And as a board member, again, one operator assault is one too many. And I think if we're not prudent, I think we missed that opportunity to make sure that we're looking at our operators and the most important people on the front lines. So I think it's somewhat a necessary step that we have to take as an agency to ensure that we've got that in place. I second the idea that any way possible we can, in a sense, humanize that the operator and make them allow them to have more of that human connection on a broader scale is something that I think is an excellent recommendation.
Dr. Edwards, did you have a comment or question?
Yes, thank you for your report, but excuse my ignorance. How are these recorded? How are the incidents recorded?
What generally happens is that there's an occurrence on the bus altercation. The operator communicates that to our operations command center. That then gets recorded into a log, and that information then is pushed out to a variety of individuals, including myself. So we record it. We encourage the operator to report it to police, a formal report. Transit police are dispatched and take a report. We will conduct a formal investigation. What's not always possible is to identify the perpetrator. We'll have video of the individual. We'll have we'll see the individual.
I just read Stovall's biography, and nowhere...
I'm sorry, go ahead, Al.
I just read Stovall's biography from Portland Afoot, and there's no mention that he drove a transit bus in there, so I don't know. He would have mentioned that in the very beginning in the interview with Michael Anderson he had, and there's nothing in there about that. So that's a very strange thing he just said here. Because he's a whole economic development guy, okay? Stovall is, a developer more or less. So
Harry, the comment by Harry said the problem is identifying the perpetrator. I'll tell you the real problem. In my wife's case, one of the cases, they know who it is, and they actually issued her a citation, and she never showed up for the citation. They had never bothered to follow up and go pick her up on the warrant. So you have a system of a lot of paper but no action.
Yeah. No, they don't really. Look, the awful truth is that you as a bus operator are out there alone. And this executive class, this is all window dressing. I mean, if they really did care, they'd have those barriers installed now, not somewhere down the road. I mean, they can retrofit the buses. But they don't care. That's the bottom line. And this is all meaningless. Window dressing here. Pretend. You see this at all levels of government. They're giving you lip. They're giving you lip service.
It's taken 2 years of meetings, according to Harry, to get to this point.
Yeah, right. It's a farce. It's defective. It's this is baloney, man. What we're watching here is a stage show. It's a stage show. It's not real in terms of how this affects actual people. Okay, this is the elite stage show here.
But then to actually identify and know exactly who it is, that's not always possible. But I also have to say that it's not unusual to make an arrest, and we do prosecute.
Oh, good.
So there is video?
Absolutely.
Oh, he doesn't even know that.
I guess my next question.
So this guy didn't even know there's video on the buses. Okay.
And actually, I have been told that there might be an update, but the video that we have is actually nothing more than to record history of an assault. There are other transit systems in this country that if something's going on, the controller can switch to live
Oh yeah,
video.
right. They have.
And not only is it live, it's then shot over live, being shared to the transit police, who don't have to constantly ask, what is the perpetrator's color of his shirt? Oh, I see, it's red.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're talking about technology that has been in place for a long time, but we are spending a hell of a lot more on hop passes than we are on safety.
Yes. Yeah, that's the priority, absolutely.
Yeah, because the hop system doled out almost $100 million in contracts.
I thought it was $35 million to install that.
Well, you have to remember the initial platform that had to be put in place so the hop could be instituted. So that was another 15-20 million.
Yeah, my understanding was the whole thing cost $35 million.
Roughly.
Yeah,
and that's not including the marketing program.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But that's just another example of Trimet announced they're going to do that, and then there was no public. We announced we're going to do this, and we're taking $35 million out of the general revenue to do it. That's another pork barrel capital project that the community's not part of. Just like the Division Street, they announced they're doing that. The public's not invited to ask whether or not we want that. We're going to get that, just like Southwest Corridor. That's announced. We're going to do this. The public is not.
And it's pork barrel. Years ago,
it's all pork barrel. That's the light rail mafia.
The guy who was ahead of Trimet's fare machines, TEMs. When they were updating him, he left. Guess who he went to work for?
Yeah, the TVMs. Yeah,
somebody selling them the new TVM.
That's what happened to Carolyn. What's her name? Carolyn Young. She quit Trimet and got a job with the fucking cell phone app people, probably making another. There's a revolving door in government. Every government. I consider my personal opinion about government is that it's a criminal enterprise because it takes the money involuntarily from people and it redistributes it to a select few. In the case of Trimet, the capital projects gets the bulk, and then the executive class, and they leave the tidbits for the operators and the public. But the fat of government goes to the elites of the area. So government is not concerned with us at all, ever, in any scenario. And Trimet is just government. That's all it is. It's just government. In our case, we had a job. It offered us a decent living and a pension if you survived it. Okay.
Right. If you survived.
Right.
A lot of people say, "Well, you're set," and I said, "Yeah, it took 20 years, a major heart attack, to try to collect."
I was just having that discussion with apparently a Trimet employee over on the Twitter who was telling me what a great job it is. She works 50 hours a week. She'll make $90,000 a year, and I'm like, well, not everybody can. That's not that's not easy money. Well, to her, she considers it easy money. I don't know what she was doing before. Every experience is based on every previous experience. But driving for Trimet is not an easy life. And if you do make it to retirement, you get something out of it. But I know a hell of a lot of people who did not make it to retirement. Okay.
I'll agree with you there. I have attended more funerals than I really want to have to think of.
And I'm sure the job contributed to some of those deaths.
Oh yeah, and most of them, some of them, 25, 28 years, 29 years, just about ready to retire
and boom.
And gone. Or they just retired and within a year, the stress and everything they're done.
Right.
They're dead.
That's not that uncommon, that's for sure.
That statistic that is not just Portland, Oregon. That's for the transit.
Oh yeah, no, that's the transit job in general. Yeah. Yeah.
Next comment would be kind of echoing some of the other board members in regards to perhaps some kind of a PR campaign that would help the public know that these are humans that are actually operating the vehicles.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. What the...
What I'm laughing about is that one day I came out of the operating a train, and someone sitting there said, "Oh, I didn't realize it took an operator. I thought it was like one of those airport trains that, you know." I said, "Yeah, I just sit up here to look good, you know." She was really startled that a human being had walked out of the cab. You know, like, what were you doing in there? I said, well, it isn't. It's not a restroom.
Oh, God.
And they're just coming to work and doing the job.
If it is, this is the men's, the women's at the other end.
I could just see that scene, you walking out of the cab and her being like, what the hell, who's she?
And letting them know that, that's, I guess, more of a human approach to it and more of a relationship approach to the driver. Because I'm sure that drivers and the board member Stovall said that, you know, you build relationships with those different customers, you know, on an ongoing basis. And I think that, you know, perhaps would help as well.
I agree, and I will be taking that back and working with our marketing folks to develop such a campaign. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And a request, whenever it is appropriate to do so.
Paid for them. Ready?
Yeah.
So they start off, the first video is they show a snake and they say, "This is a reptile." then they flash, "This is a dog." "This is a bird." And then on walks a Trimet operator. "This is a Trimet operator. He's a human." You know, that's just about as effective as a campaign that I could come up on the spur of the moment here.
As a new board member, I'd be very interested in knowing how we respond to the drivers themselves who have been assaulted, because the how you get back to work and what happens from the moment of the incident to when you get back in your seat and are ready to smile for the public once again, I think is important. And not knowing that right now, I'm sure there's some process, and it'd be good to know it.
You can see how out of touch they are. They have no clue. No clue at all. None.
Absolutely no clue.
No.
I mean, in my own experience, you know, and I can talk to fellow train operators who have had the unfortunate experience of killing someone, and, you know, they said, "Well, let's see, you got Friday and Saturday off, today's Thursday. You are coming back to work on Sunday, aren't you?" I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, no, I know how I've been listening. Yeah, they want you to keep working. They don't want you to. They don't want you to be off. They don't give a.
That's after you have definitely just made someone track grease here. You know, you're coming back on Sunday, aren't you? I actually had that discussion with a gentleman who is no longer, he retired, and I just looked at him and I said, "I'll let you know when I'm coming back, okay?" You know, I mean, so an assault is in their eyes is pretty minor as far as, you know,
yeah, they you know, they're not operator friendly at all. Okay, the management of Trimet it's a neoliberal management, and they treat operators like commodities, and more or less you're a commodity to them, And unfortunately, that's what you're dealing with. And you only find that out after something bad happens. You don't really you won't understand the management until something bad happens. Then you'll see.
And that's right. And I, watching online in the operator caucus, I've sort of been done by basically new operators who are so green behind their ears, thinking life is wonderful, and I usually reply, at least give it 18 months and then get back to me.
Yeah. Well, it takes about 5 years to really,
after 5 years, you will realize.
You realize what you're dealing with. Yeah.
What swamp am I swimming in?
Right. It takes a little time to understand what's happening around you, and they learn pretty quick now, I guess, because it used to take years to become full time. Remember, you had to wait. But
right. It took me 2 years part time.
Right. And it was a year. My class, I never went full time, but my class was a year. It always took at least a year. And in some of my friends that I know today there, it took her 3 years to get to be full-time. Now it's 6 months, if that. You're full-time immediately.
Put it this way, we actually, for a while, out at rail, were getting people who were still on probation.
On the rail?
Yes.
How's that? You were getting people that were at Trimet for less than 6 months, and they had already gone to rail?
And we had people, if I recall, some of them had not been even there a year, and here they were at rail.
How's that possible? Was that really, I guess I didn't know that was at all possible. I thought you had to be
you needed a body. And
I guess so. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, they are. It's not just Trimet that is desperate
for
transit workers all across the country. There.
Yes. Nobody wants the job because you see it, but you hear about it on the news. You hear about it on social media. You hear about what it really is, and people are not as ignorant anymore. They know what they're getting into now.
And the people who don't really know what's going on, by the way, are the ones that we are seeing right before us.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yep, right here.
Their ignorance and their statements are just the epitome
of not knowing anything. Yeah.
Of not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, it's very sad actually to watch because this is supposed to be a director, and you're listening to them and they're completely clueless. Completely. They don't know anything about Trimet. Nothing, basically.
And especially if you watch Harry's lip movements and his eye movements, he doesn't even really look like believe what he's saying.
Yeah, well, I think I think he knows what he's saying. I think he's just doing what he's supposed to do. I think he knows it's bullshit, but he's putting it out there because this is a public. You're taking a public stance, more or less. You have to say this publicly, even though it is bullshit, because government officials do that. They all do that. Okay, not just here, everywhere.
That's something that needs improvement. So, as I said earlier,
more entertainment ahead here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We got a few more minutes left.
These services, and a manager does meet with the individual. A trainer meets with the individual. But we don't think that's enough. We need to improve on that process.
And we're also looking at diffuser programs where sometimes, not necessarily managers, sometimes and I've used this in a past transit agency life, where actually operators can actually help diffuse who've been through that and can help recognize, in addition to, it takes a village sometimes to help somebody through a trauma. The trauma may not be evident at first. And so we're happy to give you updates on where we are and also some of the steps we're actually have underway.
And I forgot to mention that, so Patrick Pricer and I are working collectively on a traumatic incident program. So those that are traumatized through such an event will get the necessary resources to help them.
Thank you.
Dr. Simmons?
I currently serve on the Safety and Security Subcommittee, where we're looking at making recommendations to TIAC. And in that process, we've had an opportunity to actually view the videos of some of the assaults. And one of the things that I think will come as a recommendation is that currently the videos do not have sound. And I think it's critical for us to actually know what is transpiring and what people are saying. And so I think going forward, as we are updating our video capability within our respective vehicles, that we make sure that sound is available so we can get the perspective of really what is transpiring and what is actually creating the conflict.
You do know that many of these conflicts are around fares, right, Neal?
It is. They have claimed that they're instituting you're a fare informer, not a fare enforcer. Well, that's been around since day one, since I started over 20 years ago.
Yeah. No, I've never been. I don't understand anybody that deals with the fares. I don't. The psychology of the driver who wants to collect the fare, that's just stupid as far as I'm concerned. You're gonna mess with the people.
I mean, back in the day, my life when the fare was 65 cents. Do you think I'm going to argue with you over 65 cents?
I wouldn't argue over 250. I wouldn't argue. I never paid any attention to it, man. I never paid attention to the fare. If they put something in the fare box, I gave them an alls. I don't care if it was a nickel or whatever. If they put it in there, I never looked at a transfer or pass. I never cared. I just didn't deal with it, man. It just was not part of my consciousness, and I never had a problem with a rider. I never had a fare dispute because I didn't think about it, and I really didn't.
I really never had a fare issue.
Yeah. I mean, any of the operators that are dealing with that, they're just ignorant as far as I'm concerned. That's on them that they can't. And the company's even told them not to deal with it, and they still deal with it. You know. So what are you going to do?
You're not going to get a thank you letter from Doug the Tester. Thank you for collecting that $2.50 there from the guy who hasn't been paying for years.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like why do you make that part of your mental and drama there? It's not necessary. Jeez. And some of them do it. They just get all upset about it. I don't know what's the matter with them.
It is not coming out of your pocket.
Right, you're getting paid no matter what. So what are you worried about?
Right, you know, the wheels are going to turn whether that money goes in or not.
Exactly. I don't have much sympathy for those people that turn this into an issue. It's an ego thing. They feel like they take it personally somehow, and that's a shame. It's they need people that can't just let this shit run off your back. It's just a shame.
I think to your point is something that management has a real interest in as well. Look at C-Trans has this capability, and this is something we have been trying to negotiate with the ATU, but not successfully. Mm-hmm. In fact, in most cases, I'd say about 80%, it actually vindicates the driver. Mm-hmm. So we believe it is a very supportive of this advancement, and it's...
Well, ATU, and you need to be somewhat suspicious of the company using the video audio against the operators. I mean, Trimet does not have a good reputation. When they want to get rid of you, man, they will do anything to get rid of you. They will actually lie and cheat. So that's part of it.
I know that for a fact.
Yeah, so do I.
And even with the sound in the video, what is obvious, as you and I are doing commentary here, they are doing commentary when they're watching it and saying, this is what it means, and that's why you're being terminated.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, I had an instance where I got hauled in. I almost killed this woman. Walked and got off a eastbound train, walked across the tracks, did not realize that I was coming westbound, finally sounded the horn, jumped back, and started to walk back to the eastbound platform, not realizing the eastbound train was now ready to proceed, and she almost got run over by that one she just got off. Okay, I come to a hard stop. The video shows it. I had 4 witnesses, and their interpretation in the of the video by Trimet management was there was no reason for me to have a hard stop because someone fell in the rear car.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, really? And I called up the insurance claims people at Trimet, and I said, there was a claim put in, supposedly, and I'm going to get a PA for stopping for no reason. And she pulled up the video, and the woman said, Mr. Berlin, we looked at this video. It is extremely obvious that you saved that woman's life, not once, but twice. And we denied the claim for the woman who fell because it was a justifiable reason for you to stop. Do you think Trimet ever brought... I had to bring that up in the 3rd stage appeal.
Wow.
I mean, these people, these managers are not above omitting...
No, they're liars and thieves, okay? Let's just call it what it is. They'll lie. They will blatantly lie about things, and we both know that they'll make up shit, and they'll just do that, and there's not much you can do about it. And that's why the ATU is hesitant about because they'll just look for the words that they want to look for, okay, if they have a problem with that person. And that's what you just explained. If they want to get you, they're going to use it against you. They can't be true. They're not a trustworthy management. All right. I guess we're at the limit here, so I guess this is a good time to wrap it up.
Did I miss Doug's report?
Yeah, you did. He's still on it. Actually, this is still the report. You missed part of the report, which I did earlier, because. Okay,
well, I will catch it and enjoy your monologue.
I'm not as good as you, but I can't watch these things unless I do that. It gives me some entertainment in watching it. We have to get done because we have another board meeting coming up on Wednesday. That's why I'm rushing through this. Because once we have a new board meeting, the old board meetings are gone. We don't get back to them, so that's why I wanted to get to it. All right, Neal.
Was that a bug crawling across your screen?
Yeah.
Or was that a hair out of place?
No, that was some kind of bug.
If it was a bug, I understand. If it was his hair, he needs some more hairspray.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Neal. Have a good night. Okay.